My gorgeous, gorgeous beings of light, welcome. Welcome to We Are Pure Source. This is Elmara coming to you from gorgeous Victoria in Australia today. As you may be able to hear, it's quite windy outside, and while I was out picking these gorgeous roses, I actually heard the town siren go off to let people, or what it is to call the farmers in case of fire. And it prompted me to think about sharing with you a wonderful, wonderful technique that you can use in times of when there is a fire around, or when there's, some natural catastrophe that is predicted to be on its way, and it's usually hamped up by the media and scares the crap out of everybody. So just before we begin, I just take a look at those beautiful roses. Aren't they just stunning? I'll just see if I can move this around without... God, I love roses. They're just so amazing. Such an amazing plant. They actually are the highest vibrating plant on the planet, and that's why you always see many healers and teachers like myself that have big, bowls of them all over the place when they're running workshops, and that's the reason why. I once had a man challenge me and tell me it wasn't so, but I think you will find if you go look it up that the rose is the most highest vibrating plant on the planet, and that's why rose oil is like, $300 for 1 ounce or something. I don't even think it's an ounce you get. I think it's a mil or something. So anyway, back to what I wanted to share with you today. Last year when I was in Balan, there was predicted to be this massive rainstorm, and they'd been carrying on about it for about a week. And I knew when I tuned in it was going to be a storm in a teacup. It was so hyped up for about a week, and all these people went crazy, and potato farmers were trying to get their potatoes out so they weren't ruined, and it was just this ongoing catastrophe. And I remember I hadn't planned to go to town and get a cup of coffee, but then I just kept, on the Friday before it happened, I kept smelling this really, really strong smell of coffee. And then, like when I went down to the kitchen, I smelled it again, and I went, because I don't keep coffee at home. And I went, oh my God, you're telling me to go get a cup of coffee, aren't you? So I do. Put my glad rags on and head off into town to get a cup of coffee. When I get there, the owner of the cafe that I'd been buying my coffee at was in an absolute tiz. And because her house always floods when it rains and blah, blah, blah. And I just said to her, I can fix that for you. I really can fix that for you. And her daughter had gone to Ballarat, and she was concerned her daughter wouldn't come home. And they'd predicted something like 350 mils of rain. I mean, I don't even think we got 50 mils of rain out of it. 50 mils would be 2 inches in the old. 25 mils is an inch of rain for those of you who are listening overseas. And anyway, so I said to her, I can help you with that. And I just did this gold light exercise that I did. And the next time I went in for coffee, she was just beside herself. I could not believe, I got up at 2 o'clock in the morning and it was pouring rain. She goes, and not a drop came on my veranda. I don't know how you did that. And I told her how to do it, but of course I bet you she's forgotten already. I'm going to tell you all how to do that today, because I think it's really important that you just know this. Now, I really want to point out that if you're in some kind of hazard, some kind of, weather hazard, and you're asked to leave your home, or you have a fire plan, or you have, a snow plan, if it's something like that overseas, and the authorities are guiding you to leave or whatever, I'm not telling you not to do that. Please, by all means, follow all the guidance that are there. But this is an added thing that you can do. And you can also tune in and just see, like I did. I just knew every station you turned on the radio. When I went to Ballarat on the Thursday before, when it was really stinking hot. And then it was supposed to be freezing cold and 350, millimetres of rain, that's like 4, 8, 12, about 15, 16 inches of rain, everybody overseas. So a lot of rain was supposed to fall in 24 hours, and of course nothing happened. But it was on every radio station, so you could actually feel, if you're intuitive like myself, you could feel what was real and you could feel what was panic. And the problem with panic is that we are such infinitely powerful beings that sometimes we can create that kind of thing happening. I'm sorry, there's a dog charging through this video, but you'll just have to put up with that lovely red setter doing his thing. So what I want to share with you today is that it's a fifth dimensional practice, a fifth dimensional healing practice that I was shown by Spirit. I don't know, we're talking maybe, the Spirit started teaching me about the fifth dimension in 1997, so I've been around it a long time, and it's something that I think it was about 2005 they showed me how to do this, and I've used it ever since. I don't have any insurance. Well, I do. I have what's called God's Gold Light Insurance, and that is, God, will you put lots and lots of gold light around my car and get me to wherever I need to go safely? God, can you put lots and lots of gold light around my house and keep it safe until I return? So that's what I call God's Gold Light Insurance, and it doesn't cost me any money, and I haven't had any kind of insurance for, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 decades since I found out about God's Gold Light Insurance, and that was, you know, that's something separate to what it is I'm about to show you here. So anyway, what I wanted to say to you, and actually if you go to my website, I'm not sure if it's on the elmaraserafin.com website, but it's definitely on the www.ntpages.com.au/Elmara. That's N for Nelly, T for Tom. Pages, pages.com.au/Elmara, ELMARA. And it's definitely on that. And there was a beautiful lady in the Victorian fires about, I can't remember when they were now. They're about 4 or 5 years ago now. And all of the farms around her were on fire. And she rang up panicking because her daughter was panicking, her horses were panicking. And I just said to her, stop panicking. Just breathe. Remember your fifth dimensional training you did with me. And now what I want you to do, and this is what I'm going to tell you to do, whether it's rain, whether it's fire, whatever, I want you to, and you can only do this for yourself unless you have permission to do it for your next door neighbour. And this would probably account for why you see so many people in the middle of a fire. You know, their house is the only house standing. I've heard so many stories about people that the fire was just charging at them. Then the wind changed and it went, you know, across from them. Then it changed again and went down the side of them and cleaned out their neighbour's house. In the Canberra fires a number of years back, exactly the same. People had a circle of gold light around, although I think they used white light, I wouldn't use white light now, around their property, and it actually burnt. The fire burnt in a circle around their property. So what you're doing is you're calling upon God or your higher spiritual healing teachers, guides and angels, whatever. Sorry, the dog's now found a toy to play with, just perfect. And you just, I always just, you know, become still, connect to the God source or the pure source beings of light we already are, calling God and all of the higher spiritual healing teachers, guides and angels that work with me. And I just ask that they place a wall, 100-foot wall of gold light, and you take it down the edge of your property. So if you've got a square property, you just go down one side, across the back, up the other side and across the back. You take it until it's at least 20 foot, you know, 10, 20 foot, and I don't know what that is in metres. For the Aussies, that I'm an old Aussie when we still had feet and inches, so you'll have to just work it out. But you just take it above the house. So you go down the sides of the property around with a, you know, a 10-foot wall of gold light. You go up the sides, across the top, down the other side and down the bottom, and then you start from the back and go up, across the top, down the bottom and across the back. And for whatever reason, your property, and just ask that it be protected and kept safe until whatever it is, till the rain passes, till the storm passes, till the fire passes. It's just an added thing that you can do. Now, if you think that's a load of poppycock and it's not going to work, well, guess what? It's not going to work because you're a powerful being of light and you create your own reality. But if you believe in the power of God, whatever you conceive God to be, him or her to be, then just ask God to help you if you can't believe in yourself. Because you are actually an aspect of God, you are a pure source being of light, and you can do this yourself. But if you don't believe you can, then just call upon God and all of your angels to help you to do that. And then what you do is you set up a wall of protection to do that, and you're just going to make sure that it's completely sealed. So, you know, if it's, you do the sides, you do front and back, and you do underneath as well. So the reason that we go underneath is it stops kind of like, you know, landslides and stuff like that happening if there's lots of rain or whatever. But It's just a practice that I'm used to doing. And I can't tell you how many times, you know, when I used to do it when I lived in Tilba, I did it around the property, and you could physically see the grass was greener in our area where we used to put spiritual protection up, so that the animals, because there was farm animals there, cows, etc. Sheeps is not a word. Sheep and cows. Sheep is the plural of sheep. You know, and ducks and chooks and goodness knows what else. And the animals were always protected in the time that I was living on the farm, and I'd done that. So you can do it to protect your animals when you go away. You can do it to just have it, you know, when I had my own home, I had it as a permanent wall of gold light. And so that it, I can't believe that he's never played with that toy the whole time I've been here. And he's doing it now. We've got a video which just shows that everybody's, you know, attracted to this energy. He's gone into a really playful, joyful mode, and he's playing with his ball right in front of where I'm videoing this. So anyway, gorgeous beings, I hope that's helpful. I hope you enjoy it. Lots of love. Have a fabulous Sunday, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye now.